convention.
Will the special committee please escort in the Governor of Michigan? Members of the Joint Convention, the Governor of the great state of Michigan, Gretchen Whitmer.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. My fellow Michiganders, good evening. I am honored to be back for my 8th and final State of the State address. Thank you, Majority Leader Brinks, Speaker Hall, Minority Leader Nesbitt, Minority Leader Puri. I am eager to work with you all again on our last balanced bipartisan budget. And let's get it done on time. June 30th. I want to thank every legislator here, whether it is your first term or your last. I want to thank you for your public service. From folks like Representative O'Neill, who leads the Michigan Legislative Black Caucus, to Senator McBroom, who brings the UP spirit of Sisu to Lansing. You all have unique perspectives and strong voices, and it's an honor to serve the people of Michigan with you. Let's applaud 3 other statewide leaders who have also worked hard for Michigan these last 7 years. Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist, Attorney General Nessel, and Secretary of State Benson. And let's thank the members of Michigan's Supreme Court for upholding our Constitution and the rule of law. And of course, a big thanks to the Michiganders who keep us all safe. Our local first responders, the Michigan State Police, the Michigan National Guard, and our DNR conservation officers. This includes 2 heroes who responded to the shooting at a church in Grand Blanc last September. 2 men who did not know each other but acted quickly to protect their neighbors, because that's what Michiganders do. We're honored to have them both here this evening. Let's give DNR Officer Luke Robert and Grand Blanc Township Officer Jason Carpentier a big hand. Thank you both. And next, let's thank our state employees, including my cabinet, the executive office team, and everyone on the front lines in the departments. Thank you. To my family, without your support and sacrifices, I would not be able to do this work. I do this because of you and for you. And to the people of Michigan, serving as your governor has been the honor of a lifetime. Thank you for putting your trust in me. And finally, let's talk about the Olympics. From skiing to skating to snowboarding and hockey, Michigan was everywhere. 15 extraordinary Michiganders represented the U.S. on the world stage. They came home with 13 medals and a few less teeth. The Olympics are a reminder of what Americans can accomplish when we come together to do hard things. Here in Michigan, hard work and teamwork are in our DNA. Let's live up to all of what Michigan is possible. And let's give it up for all the Michiganders who represented the United States in Milan. I didn't have the heart to tell the Italians it's really pronounced Milan, but okay. Here in Michigan, we have a lot to be proud of. Over the last 7 years, we've delivered on the kitchen table issues. Together, we're building a Michigan for all. Wages and GDP are up. Crime and overdose deaths are down. Pre-K school meals and community colleges are all free. Taxes on retirement, tips, overtime, and Social Security, gone. We fixed more roads, built more homes, and replaced more lead pipes than ever. And more people moved into Michigan from other states than out for the first time since the early 90s. Still, people are nervous about the national economy. And while your paycheck may have grown, the cost of everything else has too. Many middle-class families tread water, struggle to pay the bills, find good jobs, and get ahead. And if you're young, it can be hard to find a job that pays well or a home that you can afford. Tariffs have jacked up prices, costing families an average of $1,000 a year. Businesses of all sizes are facing higher costs and massive uncertainty too. Last year, America had its worst manufacturing trade deficit ever, while China clocked their highest trade surplus ever, $1.2 trillion. I'm hopeful that last week's Supreme Court decision will force Congress and the President to work out a more strategic trade policy. And as everyone reels from national uncertainty, we must stay focused on growing Michigan's economy. This year, let's stay competitive against our neighbors like Ohio and Indiana by equipping ourselves with the tools we need to create good-paying jobs and make it easier to develop and grow here. Thank you to Senator Singh and Representative Farhat for your leadership on this. And we're all exhausted by the endless division. Too many people are quick to judge and eager to spin everything they read, watch, or hear. It's stoked by irresponsible leaders and organizations who get more power or make more money when we're all angry at each other or sad about ourselves. But despite these national challenges, Michiganders can show the way forward. We can show the rest of the country how we work together to get things done. We can remind people to carry themselves with an underdog spirit and a championship swagger like we do. That's what being a Michigander is all about. Taking pride in who you are, what you do, and what you value. In 2026, I'm focused on issues that will help us build a Michigan for all. First, our kids' education. And second, more money in your pocket for housing and healthcare. So let's start with literacy, an essential lifelong skill. Strong readers and writers grow up to be more confident speakers, better problem solvers, and great entrepreneurs. Illiteracy is a challenge that compounds over time. How could anyone enjoy learning if you can't read your textbook? Struggling students grow up anxious about getting called on in class, become increasingly disengaged, and ultimately struggle to fill out mortgage applications, pay bills, or apply for a job. And tragically, American students are falling behind. And Michigan is no exception. There's a gender gap here, too. Boys are behind girls in reading at every age. Michigan is 44th in fourth grade reading. 44th. This is a serious problem. Our children deserve better. And it's not the fault of any one person, party, or event. It's not concentrated in any one state or any one kind of school district. Literacy is a national challenge. No matter who becomes governor after me, they'll have to continue this work. Because simultaneously, our economy demands every child possess stronger reading, writing, and critical thinking skills than ever before. And yet we're not keeping up with top states. But we can. We can close the gender gap and raise the bar for all kids. We can compete, but we must change to win. Over the past 7 years, we've taken significant bipartisan action on literacy, led by leaders in both chambers, Senators Irwin, Camilleri, and Polhanke, and Representatives Glanville and Kelly. Every budget I've introduced, negotiated, and signed these last 7 years made record investments in education. Every year, we've raised the bar. We trained more teachers, tutored more kids, funded more mental health, and upgraded classrooms, libraries, and science labs. In late 2024, I signed Science of Reading legislation, a statewide strategy that uses proven methods to teach reading. That includes phonics, because it works. Previously, our schools used over 400 different literacy teaching methods. Now, we're simplifying that to what we know is most effective. Soon, we'll also screen every student for dyslexia, identifying kids who need extra help and ensuring that they get it. We gave districts more funds to buy evidence-based classroom resources. We invested in literacy coaches, professionals who help our educators improve how they teach reading. And late last year, we convened the first ever Michigan Literacy Summit of Experts. I want to thank our state superintendent, Dr. Glenn Malenko, on his focus on literacy. Thank you, Dr. Malenko. And earlier this month, I signed the bills to limit phones during class time. Students, give yourselves a round of applause. Students can better focus on learning, and our teachers can do what they do best, teach. I called for this in last year's address, and I want to thank Senator Polhanke and Representative Tisdale for getting it done. Thank you. We've been working together to make our schools safer, better places for kids to learn and grow. So this year, let's build on that progress. I just released my final executive budget recommendation, which included the largest targeted literacy investment in Michigan history. The plan has a simple name and a clear goal. Every child reads. It's got 3 parts: early starts, proven methods, and extra help. First, we start teaching reading earlier. Those early years are crucial. It's when young brains are best able to absorb new information. For babies and toddlers, literacy starts when people talk to them, sing with them, or read them stories, things most parents already do. That early learning continues in pre-K, where kids learn their ABCs and use language to play and make friends. The data tells us that students who attend pre-K are far more likely to read and do math at or above grade level. I'm thrilled that Michigan families have repeatedly broken records for pre-K enrollment. It's working. So let's keep going. Every parent should know that Michigan is committed to their child's lifelong academic success, from pre-K through graduation. So this year, let's fund free full-day pre-K for all and set every child up for success. Second, let's get proven literacy teaching practices into all Michigan classrooms. Our teachers work hard. No one wants to see our students succeed more than they do. Let's support teachers by adopting effective curriculum statewide and fund additional professional learning, like letters training, to ensure we're teaching literacy using the most effective strategies to improve student outcomes. And finally, extra help. Now, potential is universal, but opportunity is not. Our new Science of Reading law identifies students who need more support. But what does that actually look like? It means more tutoring and small group support in class, at after-school programs, over the weekend, and during summer too. With our support, every child can read and reach their potential. Hearing your child read for the first time, sound out the words, smile, and ask you if they got it right, it's a magical moment. Few things feel better than watching your child succeed, but few things hurt more than watching them struggle and not knowing how to help them. A wise person once said, "You're only as happy as your least happy child." And it's so true. Too many parents know the pain of a struggling reader. Literacy is an ordinary superpower that every child deserves. We're already seeing remarkable progress in states that are doing the same things I've covered tonight. These so-called miracles have been taking place in red, blue, and purple states who are climbing the ranks or maintaining their already strong positions. But these weren't miracles. They were marathons, the result of hard work and commitment to the plan. Michigan, we've already started this race. Let's commit and work together to make sure every child reads. Let's get it done. Next, let's talk about another national issue we must tackle together: housing. In the 90s, I bought my first house as a 28-year-old. Now, if you're 28 years old right now and you think that sounds crazy, You're right, because a lot has changed. Since then, we know how much has changed. Just 1 in 5 homes today are sold to first-time homebuyers. That is an all-time low. The median age of a first-time homebuyer is 40. That's a record high. And the average income of first-time homebuyers is $97,000, also an all-time high. It's hard out there. There's a multi-million home shortage nationwide, while the majority of houses that are for sale are totally unaffordable. We're also seeing a widening gender gap in home ownership. 25% of first-time buyers are single women, while just 10% are single men. I know some people were surprised when I spoke directly about young men in my speech last year. But why wouldn't I? A governor should care about every Michigander, including the 1 million young men and the 1 million young women who call Michigan home. I want all of our people to succeed and put down roots in Michigan. They should be able to buy a house and start a family. They deserve a life that's just as good and hopefully better than their parents. Unfortunately, it's too hard and too expensive to build new housing today. Tariffs haven't helped. We rely on Canadian lumber and Mexican drywall to build homes. And tariffs have raised the cost of a house by upwards of $17,000, further exacerbating our housing shortage. Now, we can't change national tariffs. Believe me, I've tried. But we can build more quality, affordable housing in Michigan. We can do that. So our solution so far has been pretty simple. Build, baby, build. We've invested more to build housing than any administration in state history. We set and smashed our goal of adding 75,000 homes a year ahead of schedule. We're at 86,000 now, on track to hit our new target of 115,000. We closed our housing gap by 44%, and our home ownership rate remains higher than the national average at almost 75%. And we helped more than 6,000 Michiganders buy their first homes last year with record-setting mortgage and down payment assistance loans. I also directed our housing department to connect more young men and women to our home ownership programs. Because whether it's your first property, the home you raise your family, or the place to retire, everyone should be able to buy a house that meets their needs and stay in it long term. This year, let's continue making it easier to build more housing. There are some common sense ways we can get this done. First, a new state-level affordable housing tax credit. There's already a federal affordable housing tax credit which incentivizes the construction of housing for working-class families. And with a state credit, we can build thousands more homes every year. You know, Michigan's the only state in our region without this tool. And once we create one, it'll unlock more federal dollars too. So we need to get this done because too many workers are being priced out of homeownership. Firefighters in Traverse City, nurses in Fraser, teachers in Chelsea. And there are 2 more things we should do to build housing. 1, demolish nonsensical construction requirements. And 2, streamline zoning. There's still too much red tape that gets in the way of shovels hitting dirt. So let's make it easier to build in-law suites and multifamily homes. Let's modernize lot sizes and setback rules and parking requirements. By improving zoning and building codes, we can build more homes quicker and at a lower cost. You know, Michiganders love the character of their communities. Whether you crave the hustle and bustle of a busy downtown or the slower pace of a quiet main street, every community is different, and that's a good thing. For too long, however, our laws have made it easy to expand suburbs, but hard to build walkable downtowns and main streets to do more with your own property. It shouldn't be so hard to build the homes people need in the places where they want to live. Young Americans want to live in areas with good jobs, great restaurants, unique businesses, concert venues, sports stadiums. To attract and retain young workers, let's build the kind of homes they want in the places they want. Representatives Grant and Aragona, Wooden, Merriman, Neely, Fairbairn, Senators Irwin and Kavanaugh have been leading on housing, and I want to thank you. We've come a long way together, but we must do more. In 2026, let's continue our mission to build more housing, make cities and towns more fun, affordable, and safe, and help the 28-year-olds watching this speech buy their first home. Together, we can give every Michigander a chance to live their American dream. Now, the third thing we should focus on this year is healthcare. We all need quality, affordable healthcare. But for too many, it's synonymous with lengthy paperwork, long phone calls, and confusing processes. It shouldn't be so hard, it shouldn't be so maddening, and it really shouldn't be so damn expensive. Last year, the majority in Washington, D.C. voted to slash Medicaid and SNAP by $1 trillion, ripping health care and food away from millions of our neighbors, family, and friends. They went home and did nothing and let premiums on the Affordable Care Act skyrocket. I'm calling on members of Congress. Renew the ACA subsidies. Provide real relief to Michiganders. They can provide real relief to Michiganders who now must pay thousands more for the same coverage they had last year. Now, a lot of federal changes will only make it harder and more frustrating for folks who are perfectly eligible to get the care they need. Even if you don't get your health care through Medicaid or the ACA, we will all, every one of us, be impacted by these cuts. The domino effect of higher premiums, hospital closures, reduced services, workforce reductions will impact us all, even if you have good insurance. No state can pick up the massive tab the federal government has dropped on us. It's just not possible. What we can do is make healthcare more convenient and more affordable. Over the past 7 years, that's exactly what we've done. Because of our work together, insurers can't charge more for pre-existing conditions. Young people can stay on their parents' plans until they turn 26. Prior authorizations are faster, digitized, and more transparent. And there are no more surprise medical bills and no caps on annual or lifetime care. And mental health, finally covered equally to physical health by law, making Michigan the first state to get that done. Now let's talk about 2 more things we can do this year to lower costs and protect access to healthcare. First, medical debt. Over 500,000 Michiganders got sick and couldn't afford to pay the bill. Last year, we wiped out medical debt for 210,000 people. That's a huge weight off of their backs. I'm grateful to county governments statewide who've taken similar actions. I also want to thank Senators Anthony and Lindsay for their leadership on this issue. But with more economic uncertainty and deeper cuts to healthcare on the horizon, we know that thousands more Michiganders will rack up medical debt this year. So we must do more. Here's what I'm thinking. Let's cap interest rates on medical debt. Let's prevent medical debt from showing up on your credit report. Let's require hospitals to set up financial assistance programs for patients. And let's ban liens or foreclosures on homes because of medical debt. In Michigan, we believe that being sick or getting hurt shouldn't also mean going broke. In 2026, we can help more Michiganders reduce medical debt. Moving on, let's talk about Medicaid. Last year, we recognized that federal cuts would put 2.5 million Michiganders, a quarter of our population, at risk of losing their coverage and threaten hospitals in rural and underserved areas. We agreed, across the aisle, it wasn't right. So we took action. Our budget protected billions in funding for core Medicaid services. I want to thank Representatives Dr. Longjohn and Van Workum for their efforts here. But the work is not finished. In our budget this year, we got to do more. In my executive recommendation, I proposed a significant investment to stabilize Medicaid funding. If we include this throughout the budget process, we can protect benefits and maintain coverage for eligible Michiganders. No matter what happens in Washington, D.C., let's us work together here in Lansing to help Michiganders pay less for the care they need. It's what we have done for years. In 2014, as the minority leader in the Michigan Senate, I worked with Governor Snyder to expand Medicaid under the ACA. It took a lot of compromise, but we got it done and created Healthy Michigan. When we collaborate, we can do extraordinary things. This year, let's erase more medical debt and protect our healthcare system for all of us. Let's get it done. Tonight, I've spoken about the work we must do on literacy, housing, and healthcare to build a Michigan for all. But it's worth reflecting on just how far we've come in the 2,612 days since I was sworn in on a frosty January morning in 2019. Since then, we've made Michigan a state that more people can afford. On tax day this year, 1 million Michigan seniors will no longer pay the retirement tax because we repealed it. $665,000 working families get refunds averaging $3,900 because we increased the working families tax credit by 500%. $800,000 workers will keep more of their hard-earned paychecks because we ended state taxes on tips and overtime. Michigan workers benefit from the best earned sick time policy in the country. You're a part of that. Good job, Matt. I'm not going to leave my girl. And the day I took office, 1.5 million Michiganders made under $15 an hour. The day I leave, it will be almost zero. Businesses have more opportunities too. Our fiscal house is also in order. We raised the rainy day fund to record highs and enacted 7 balanced budgets. We're a top 10 state for doing business for the 3rd year in a row. We improved our credit rating and will pay off $28 billion in debt. We sped up permitting and cut lots of red tape. And we're building a strong startup ecosystem. We're making headway. Michigan is also a safer, better place to live. Every community has record resources to hire and train and retain first responders. We're producing more clean, reliable energy from wind, solar, nuclear, and hydrogen to protect our planet and power everyone's homes. We've replaced 70,000 lead pipes and upgraded water infrastructure statewide. And we're fixing the damn roads everywhere, thanks to the biggest bipartisan roads deal in state history. And I want to thank Speaker Hall for his collaboration here. It was a joint effort. Good job. It was a decades-long problem. We delivered a thoughtful, bipartisan solution. I'm really proud of this one. Since I took office through the end of this construction season, we will have fixed 26,500 lane miles of road and almost 2,000 bridges, and supporting over 200,000 jobs. We've had some of the busiest construction seasons in Michigan history, and more are coming. There's still a lot of work to do. So when you see those orange barrels, just know, I'm sorry, and you're welcome. We've made record investments in our kids. It's quite a list. Every student in every school gets the same resources because we finally closed the funding gap. Every 4-year-old can go to pre-K for free, saving their parents 14 grand a year. Every student gets more mental health resources, financial literacy skills, and personalized instruction. Every graduate can go to their community college tuition free. And every Michigander, 25 and older, can earn an associate's degree or certificate, tuition free too. And no child goes hungry in Michigan schools because all 1.4 million public school students get free breakfast and lunch. And you know what? This year, let's make that permanent. Years from now, when people write about this session, they'll remember that we were the ones that finally fixed our roads and fed our kids. We've also protected fundamental freedoms for all. I want to thank my dear friend, Majority Leader Winnie Brinks, the first woman to hold that position, for her strong leadership that's helped make Michigan more fair and free. Thanks to the volunteers, the voters, and the work that we did together. Abortion is a constitutional right. Women control their own bodies, lives, and future in the state of Michigan. Thanks to our work, Black Michiganders can wear their hair natural without discrimination. We finally have common sense gun violence prevention laws, background checks, safe storage, extreme risk protection order. And LGBTQ plus Michiganders are protected against discrimination in their homes and at work by law. In Michigan, everyone deserves to be who they are and love who they love. I want to take a moment and speak directly to our gay and trans neighbors, family, and friends. I want you to know that you are welcome in Michigan. You belong. You matter. And no matter who comes after you, I'll stand in the way. In Michigan, we look out for each other. That's why I'll always fight for your freedom and your safety, and I'll veto any legislation that diminishes your humanity. I got your back. We're not done yet. Michiganders expect us to compete and win. Michigan is open for business. New factories making batteries, cars, chips are opening in Marshall, Lake Orion, Holland, Bay City, Calumet, Hemlock, Ann Arbor, and Delta Township. A new fighter mission is coming to Selfridge Air National Guard Base in Macomb County. Probably not on the bingo card, but I want to thank President Trump for his work on this. I also want to thank Senator Hertel and Representative Minster for their work on this too. And Congresswoman McClain, who is going to keep the pressure on in Washington, D.C. We've had lots of firsts. We're the first state to restore workers' right to organize for better pay and benefits in 70 years. We're the first state to ever restart a nuclear power plant, and we're going to do it at Palisades. For the first time in 40 years, we opened a new veterans home. For the first time in nearly 70 years, Detroit's population grew. And for the first time in over a century, a new bridge connecting Michigan to Canada, the Gordie Howe International Bridge, will open. Throughout 2026, I'll be going across Michigan, lifting up these wins and listening to you in what we're calling the GSD Tour. I'll explain it when I see you. But I hope to see you out there. You know, my mission over these last 10 months, as it has always been, is to put you, the people of Michigan, first. I spent 2.5 decades working in this building. As a student at Michigan State, just at the other end of the now freshly paved Michigan Avenue, my beloved father wisely encouraged me to learn about state government and apply for an internship at the Capitol. He saw something in me before I saw it in myself. Soon, I landed my first full-time job as a staffer. My desk was literally in a safe on the first floor. I occupied 40% of the safe, and the office refrigerator had the other 60%. I got to work here at a unique moment. We had a tie, 55 Republicans and 55 Democrats. They shared power and still got a lot done. And that early experience stayed with me and shapes the way that I lead. In 2000, I was elected to the House. During my first term, I had my first child, Sherry. She was named after my mom, who was fighting brain cancer and lived just long enough to meet her namesake. In my second term, I had my second child, Sydney. And after a few terms in the House, I won a seat in the Senate in a special election. I literally gave my farewell remarks and walked off this floor, across the rotunda, and was sworn into the Senate. One of my House colleagues joked that the average IQ of both chambers went up that day. House members find that funnier than senators do. I loved my time as a legislator. I made friends on both sides of the aisle, people who believed deeply in the work we did and wanted the very best for Michigan. After a stint as a county prosecutor, I ran for governor in 2018 to fix the damn roads and a lot of other stuff too. I've been to all 83 counties many times. I've met Michiganders on the front line of every problem. Even as we've dealt with a lot of darkness over the past 7 years, I've been overwhelmed by the light that I've seen in my fellow Michiganders. Our state is full of good, honest, hardworking people who care deeply about their families and want to make their communities better. And that's why I'm optimistic about Michigan's future. It's the gritty, can-do attitude that defines our state's character. The ordinary acts of kindness we practice every day. It's Republicans, Democrats, and independents who put politics aside to solve problems. That's what Michigan's about. It's why I've never been prouder to be a Michigander. Right now, it can be hard to stay positive. It's frustrating to just stay afloat financially, much less get ahead. Ugly rhetoric and rising partisanship, especially at the national level, has made it hard and made it tempting to tune out and turn away. Social media platforms that were supposed to bring us together have made us distrust and in some cases despise our fellow Americans. These forces, economic uncertainty, political division, and toxic algorithms work in a vicious cycle to try and tell us that empathy is weakness, kindness is gullibility, and sincerity is for suckers. That's wrong. We're all searching for a way forward. And the answer has been in front of us the whole time. It is us. No matter what comes our way, we will always have a way through because we will always have each other. Through a destructive pandemic, devastating floods, deep freezes, and deadly shootings, I've seen that tough times don't last, but tough people do. We've all been tested over the past 7 years, but we've always come out stronger, and we always will. There's no problem we faced that we cannot fix. That's just who we are. I want to close tonight by speaking about the guiding lights of my life, my parents and my girls. My folks taught me to be kind, quick to laugh at myself, slow to judge others, and always work hard. To those of you who shared your condolences, thank you. Losing my dad was really hard. So thank you for seeing my humanity and showing me yours. To my daughters who are watching tonight, you've both made so many sacrifices as kids of the public servant. You center me, inspire me, you crack me up, and you shape my work. And I'm incredibly proud of you. To my husband, Mark, who's been by my side these last 15 years. Okay, he's not here, ironically. I left that line in because he's so sick with the flu, and I thought it was just funny. I mean, not funny that he's sick, but funny that he's not here. Anyway, you get the gist. Mark, I hope you feel better. I'll be home soon. To my brother, Richard, who drove me to all 83 counties throughout the course of our campaign for 2 years. and my sister Liz, who helped me write True Gretch. I want to acknowledge my nieces, Demira and Malia, who are both here tonight. I love you all. And of course, my fellow Michiganders, thank you for this opportunity. I start and end every day thinking about you. Because of you, the state of our state is strong. And because of you, I know it always will be. Big Gretch out.
Will the escort officers please escort the state officers, judges of the Court of Appeals, and the justice of the Supreme Court from the chamber? There being no further business to come before the Joint Convention, House Majority Floor Leader Postumus moves that the Joint Convention be adjourned. All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say nay. The Joint Convention is adjourned.